Barbados and other countries in the region expected to benefit from billions in new investment funding. A maintenance policy for government-owned and leased properties in the works. Producers discuss challenges and opportunities to the rum and spirits industry. And in sports, squash gives Barbados a second medal at the Pan Am Games.
Broadcasting from our studios in the Pine St. Michael, this is CBC NewsNight, starting now.
Good evening, I'm Pearson Bowen. Billions of dollars in investment funding could be channeled to Barbados and other countries in Latin America and the Caribbean. President of the United States, Joe Biden, has announced an initiative that could see this become a reality. He made the revelation during a meeting at the White House, attending by Prime Minister Mia Motley, Senior Minister Kerry Simmons, and CARICOM Secretary General Dr. Carla Barnett. That occasion was the inaugural leaders' meeting of the Americas Partnership for Economic Prosperity.
The U.S. International Development Finance Corporation and the Inter-American Development Bank are launching a new investment platform to channel billions of dollars toward building sustainable infrastructure in the hemisphere and strengthening the critical supply chains. Modern ports, clean energy grids, digital infrastructure. These are the building blocks for a competitive and resilient economy. And by combining the commitment of the United States government to mitigate investment risk with the agility of private sector financing, we believe we can deliver gains for workers and families throughout the region.
President Biden also announced a plan to equip entrepreneurs in the region with the skills and resources to succeed.
Today, we're launching the Americas Partnership Accelerator, a multi-year program to help promising entrepreneurs develop and fund their ideas. This is an example of what we can deliver when we work together. Canada is joining the United States with funding to launch the accelerator, and Uruguay is leading the creation of an angel investor network, individuals who mobilize venture capital from around the world to support the accelerator.
Prime Minister Motley also met with U.S. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen at the U.S. Department of Treasury earlier today. Government is moving to create a maintenance policy for the properties it owns and leases to reduce sick building complaints. According to Senior Minister Dr. William Duguid, it is necessary as environmental and other issues are having an impact on workers.
It has been discovered that many challenges being experienced recently by government with its accommodation in state-owned and leased properties stem mainly from issues with indoor air quality. This is primarily as a result of malfunctioning air-conditioned systems, leading to hot workspaces and mold growth. As a result, there have been complaints of respiratory issues and other ailments being experienced by some of the occupants. The sick building syndrome is becoming an increasingly common problem and is one that has been having a sufficient impact not only on the well-being of workers, but also on overall productivity.
Minister Duguid spoke on the policy this morning during a seminar hosted by the National Housing Corporation.
It is envisioned that this symposium will be the first step towards receiving the views of our stakeholders on how we can make the best use of the resources available to improve and maintain the accommodation being provided for public officers and the general public. The Government of Barbados has a varied portfolio of properties, both owned and leased, which provide office, residential, and industrial accommodation. These properties are assets that need to be properly maintained to ensure that they function as intended.
Land slippage in King Street, St. Andrew is causing major issues for residents. They fear that if the heavy rains continue, the entire road will wash away. Crystal Hoyt has more.
Residents of King Street St. Andrew want the land slippage issue they are facing to be urgently addressed. According to them, the construction of gabions to stabilize the road used by commuters has failed to solve the problem. Moreover, they say the situation has been made worse by heavy rainfall over the last few weeks.
We're very frustrated because it should have been done better. The gabion has failed. And I don't know what's going to happen from here or who is going to fix it.
The situation is also now compounded by the trenches being filled with water.
So there's stagnant water in there right now. Obviously, there is an outbreak of dengue at this present moment, so many mosquitoes and also sandflies as well. So if the Ministry of Health could come and look into that, or Complan could come and refill those trenches to stop the water. We need to get something done about the mosquitoes. We have old residents across the road, and we don't want them to get dengue. And if something has to happen, God forbid, the ambulance cannot even get across there like that, because look at the state of the road. We get 2 or 3 more days of rain, it's going to wash away. It's getting worse and worse.
Minister of Transport, Works and Water Resources Santia Bradshaw admits that there have been some challenges with the work being done in the Scotland district.
It is a complex issue in terms of dealing with the type of soil that is in the Scotland district. It has required us doing more testing where we have had issues, for instance, in King Street. There have been some breakaways in terms of the materials. I think the soil conservation, in conjunction with all of the other technical teams, recognize that they may now have to do some additional work in terms of drainage, and we therefore stopped the works to be able to do more testing to make a determination as to how to reconfigure what had been already done.
She added that this is not the first attempt to preserve the community of King Street.
It is our focus on trying to keep people where they are as much as possible. We are looking at it holistically because there has to be that cost-benefit analysis that allows us as a government as well to determine, do we continue to proceed with the works program as planned? Or do we look at a relocation if that is necessary? Do we do the works up to a certain point and then we do some modifications in other areas? So those are some of the decisions that are right now occupying the attention of the technical team.
However, the residents say relocation is not the answer.
There are people that are not going to move. Most of those people, they don't want to be relocated. They don't want to move. Why would you need to leave your land to go and be relocated? You can't, they got livestock. You can't raise your livestock. This is country living, so that's what they're accustomed to.
The residents hope the authorities take their concerns into consideration as they search for a solution. Crystal Hoyt, CBC News.
Well, there is concern tonight about new economic threats to the island's rum industry. The issue has been a talking point at a week-long conference at the Radisson Aquatica. Trevor Thorpe reports.
The more famous Barbados rum becomes, the greater the likelihood of exploitation. This is the view of Managing Director of the Foursquare Rum Distillery, Richard Seal. Mr. Seal, who is also a master blender, says protecting the economic value of Barbados rum is a priority.
It's about exploitation. I gave the example earlier where, I remember when the Prime Minister first came to office, she said, we have more tourist arrivals but less tourism income. And that's really what it's about. So you want to make sure that all of the income that is earned from your intellectual property, which is Barbados rum, that's the intellectual property of the island, is earned in Barbados. And the only way you're going to do that is to take the steps to protect it.
Mr. Seal says rum producers are united to protect the local product from cane to bottle and has written the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office on the matter.
The most recent thing we heard is that they're going to split that department from the corporate side to the IP side, and this is fantastic news because I think in the Caribbean we have just generally not understood the importance of intellectual property. We obviously have a history of exporting bulk commodities, and that's something that has to change. And I hope that's the first step because, there are several thousand registrations of protected geographical indications in the EU. There's about 3 only from the region, from the former British colonies. This is, we need to turn this around. And of course, we're getting behind.
He says it's not a complex issue as there's a Geographic Identification Act in place in Barbados.
We've been slow to create some of these frameworks, but there is a GI Act in Barbados, and we have obviously a corporate registry in which GIs can be read. So we have these initial steps. What we've not done is put now it into place and have actual registrations. We have no GI registrations on the island, and so consequently we have no GI registrations in export markets, and it's long overdue. And as I say, these things are not complex things. We are saying, protect the words of Barbados rum, that the product comes from here, so that when you go abroad and you pick up a product and it says 10-year-old Barbados rum, the product is exactly as you would envision the words 10-year-old Barbados rum to mean.
Efforts to contact officials from the Corporate Affairs and Intellectual Property Office were unsuccessful up to news time. Trevor Thorpe, CBC News.
Barbados and other CARICOM states have voted in favor of a resolution at the UN General Assembly demanding an end to the U.S. economic blockade on Cuba. The trade embargo was put in place following Fidel Castro's 1959 revolution and has remained largely unchanged, though some elements were stiffened by former President Donald Trump. A total of 187 states voted for the resolution. Only 2 countries, the United States and Israel, voted against. Ukraine, meanwhile, abstained. This is 31 years in a row that the UN General Assembly overwhelmingly condemned the embargo. Permanent representative of Barbados to the UN, Francois Jackman, has reiterated Barbados' position, noting it opposes the imposition of unilateral punitive measures.
Of the extraterritorial application of legislation that violates international law and restricts freedom of trade and navigation and the sovereignty and freedom of states. Barbados views the continued imposition of the economic, commercial, and financial embargo against the Republic of Cuba to run counter to both the letter and the spirit of the UN Charter.
Browns Beach today took on a Miami or Rio Beach-like atmosphere as thousands of tourists descended on the popular beach, most of them cruise passengers from 2 ships, P&O Cruises Britannia, which called with 3,611 passengers, and Costa Cruises Carnival Venezia with 4,232. Businesses along the stretch welcomed the sight. Randall Ward of Savvy on the Bay gave an estimate of tourists on the beach.
Looking at the beach today, with the number of umbrellas up between Harbour Lights Boatyard, ourselves, Copacabana, and all the boys that go regularly up the beach, I would say that you probably have close to 4,000 guests that would be on Carlisle Bay Beach today.
And these are all from the cruise ship?
No, I wouldn't say all are from the cruise ship, but there's 7,800 that were meant to get off cruise ships, give or take a few today. But needless to say, on average, we have anywhere from, I would say, 50 to 100 guests here, no matter what, on a day without actual cruise ships being in. So all of our guests would not be cruise ships, but a lot of them are cruise ship passengers today.
The issue of education reform goes far beyond the transition from primary to secondary school. Last night, during another town hall meeting on education reform, the Education Minister responsible for technological and vocational training, Kay McConney, says it is also about curricula and a number of other areas designed to take our children into the future.
Education transformation is intended to be implemented in 2025, but the public will get to contribute to it. And officials have been revealing more details about the reform plan at their latest public session.
We are going to learn that infrastructure, how we deal with how schools look physically, how we design the schools for collaboration and flexibility, how we design the schools for climate resilience, that much of that is part of education transformation.
One parent, Daniel Lefcott, suggests trained counsellors be placed at the primary and secondary level to help children who have challenges.
They do need to have someone there that they can confide in, who can recognize the various disabilities, issues that would affect children and cause them to fall through the cracks in our education society.
Another attendee, who says she's written her own 600-page reform book, has praised the global initiatives proposed by the ministry, but she believes one point has been missed.
The reason children do not learn is because they are not being taught in the way they ought to be.
Education consultant Dr. Idame Deddy has been speaking about instruction in future technologies.
In terms of the coding and robotics, this is not theoretical at all. In fact, the government has spent, I believe it might be in excess of $10 million already, providing kits for every school in this country from our nursery schools. We have kits at the various levels, the coding, the robotics kits, where all of our children can begin to explore and develop.
Chief Education Officer Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw says concerns remain about areas like reading. She says overseas institutions have been engaged to provide assistance to both teachers and children.
It is a concern for us, and we can't wait until 2025 to fix it. We have to start fixing it now. So we've begun to make some inroads in terms of ensuring that we have a reading population at the end of the day.
The primary school reform is based on several pillars: numeric, kinesthetic, artistic, scientific, and linguistic. Wendy Burke, CBC News.
Secondary school students transitioning to tertiary life at the Barbados Community College are having problems adjusting post-COVID-19. Principal Annette Aline says the situation arose for some students who attended the BCC after completing classes online during the pandemic. The college also had to contend with nursing students not being able to complete their clinicals in the allotted time frame, impacting their completion of the program. Ms. Aline says the college is working to address the shortcomings and impacts of the pandemic. Now, while admitting the academic year was a challenging one, she says the Barbados Community College is a resilient institution.
We're creative, and over the last number of years, despite the impacts of COVID, we have managed to ensure that our students succeed and succeed very well in the various programs. So I want to say a big thank you to our academic staff and all the support staff who have made that possible. You have done a remarkable job.
The BCC, meanwhile, as it continues celebrations commemorating 55 years of existence, recognize its top students from each division or department. Their accomplishments didn't go unnoticed as the college showed its appreciation during the inaugural Eagles reception in the courtyard of the College Language Center at the campus. The awardees were selected based on their grade point average. Registrar Roger Worrell reminded the students that exceptional achievements are within reach when they stand tall on the foundations of personal integrity, hard work, and unwavering determination. He says the college is proud of their accomplishments.
I congratulate all of you. Family and friends, a special welcome to you as well. You have made this possible through your support, your sacrifice, your encouragement, and your love. The awardees, I am sure, know this, and both they and I applaud you. To the sponsors, individuals, and organizations, you are welcome and appreciated for your continued contribution to the growth and development of the college. You are an important stakeholder in our mission to meet the changing developmental, educational, and training needs of our students.
Former principal of the Urdeston Teachers Training College, Dr. Patricia Saul, was recently celebrated at a retirement function. The luncheon held at the Radisson Aquatica honored a woman who gave 40 years to the teaching profession.
Dr. Patricia Saul was given a standing ovation as she and her family entered the hall for her retirement function. The guest of honor worked at Erdeston for 22 years. Principal Dr. Colin Cumberbatch says her career was a labor of love. He first met her in 1997 when he was a student and she a tutor.
We had some very, very interesting encounters in my 2 years there at the college, and I have always found her to be very, very diligent, very, very understanding, very, very compassionate. She always felt that the needs of the students, that those needs were very, very important. She looked out for us in a way that a mother would look out for her children. She showed her dedication and commitment to her work by her dedication and commitment to us as students in the college.
The Ministry of Education also wished her well, with Senior Education Officer Dr. Christina Morris bringing greetings on behalf of the Chief Education Officer, Dr. Ramona Archer-Bradshaw. She looked at Dr. Saul's journey from teacher to tutor to deputy principal and then principal.
I'm also aware that you would have acted as Deputy Chief Education Officer in the Ministry of Education. And from the time I have known you, your journey, your career, to me has always been marked by the passion and the love for what you do. I have always seen high standards and excellence. I have always seen a high level of organization.
And the Board of Management also had glowing comments for Dr. Saul.
On the board, she would always be cool and calm and collective. Never no fuss. She was always early and took part in all the activities. She would always bring us up to date on all the activities of the college. So we were never in the dark as to what went on in the college. And he thought that was good. She collaborated with us and cooperated and gave us advice on anything that we cared to enter.
In addition to the tributes, there was a steel pan solo, gifts and flowers, all of which brought a smile to Dr. Saul's face. Happy retirement.
Now, yesterday, Anne-Marie issued me the memo that said we must on Friday wear national colors. And so, like me, she is too. Anne-Marie, good evening.
Good evening to you, Pearson, and a good time to wear the national colors as Barbados women's squash team is on course to deliver another medal at the Pan American Games. As CBC's Damien Best reports from Chile, Barbados defeated the hosts today in the semi-finals of the team competition.
Barbados are assured of yet another medal here at the Pan American Games in Santiago, Chile. It's come via the team competition in women's squash. Megan Best, Margot Pro, and Amanda Haywood are assured of a bronze medal at least in this competition. They defeated Chile comfortably in the end, 2-0. First up, it was Amanda Haywood who delivered victory over Antonia Vera, and indeed then it went on to Megan Best, who was comfortable against her opponent as well, as Barbados delivered the 2-0 victory. Now that semi-final against Team USA is set for Saturday at 11:15 a.m. Barbados time, and will be a true test of the Bajans' ability, as the Americans boast of having the singles champion Olivia Fischer and finalist Amanda Sobey in their lineup. Failing that, Barbados walks away with a bronze medal. Not so good news in the wrestling arena. Adrian Maynard was beaten by Eduardo Bernal of Chile 9-0 in their 77-kilogram men's Greco-Roman quarterfinal matchup. Bernal registering the victory by technical superiority. In golf, Emily Odwin finished 17th overall after shooting another round of 76 to end 8 over par, and a total of 152 across 2 days.
My finish was pretty weak. I would have liked to have a better finish, a much stronger finish than what I did today. And also, I didn't hit as many greens today as I would have liked to. And also just consistently giving myself good looks at birdie. I think for the most part, my putting was pretty steady, just barring the last 3 holes, I would say. It was pretty solid. I don't think I can really complain much about it today. I think that the course that they have us play, I think it's a really good course. It's definitely a course that you've got to think your way around. It's not the longest course, but it also still kind of, it's not, and it's definitely gettable, but you can't bully it. You've got to respect it, and you've got to play smart around it.
In track and field, Barbados' lone athlete, Sonia Gaskin, finished last in the field of 5 in the women's 800-meter semifinals, clocking 2 minutes 08.14 seconds. That event was won by Mary Almanza of Cuba in a time of 2 minutes 02.87 seconds. Barbadian triathlete Matthew Wright, well, he's still recovering after a grueling swim, bike, and run on Thursday. Wright finished in 10th position, the same as in 2019 in Lima, Peru, but with a better overall time of 1 hour 47 minutes 23 seconds compared to his 1 hour 52 minutes 4 years ago. He revealed to CBC Sports that the swim was the toughest component.
The swim was great. It wasn't one of my best. I knew I wanted to swim with the guys that were out front. I'd swam with a few times in a few races and got some breakaways with them, and that was the goal. But yeah, as you said, the water was really cold, and kind of 300-400 meters in, couldn't really feel my arms. They were quite numb, legs were quite numb. You're kind of in the middle of the melee of everyone, and I just kind of got stuck there a bit, and I think the 3 guys broke away on that back stretch of the swim. And I know the body wasn't at 100%, but I believe I executed 100% of what I could have. And over the moon with top 10 in such a high quality field, and one more race for the season, and then we closed what was my most successful season ever.
Reporting live from Santiago, Chile, Damien Best, CBC Sports.
In business tonight, the Barbados Association of Retired Persons, in collaboration with Lynch Insurance Brokers and ICBL, have launched another life benefit plan. It replaces a similar plan which was discontinued by a previous insurance carrier. Essentially, it provides funds to assist with burial expenses. Rosemary Austin of Lynch Insurance Brokers explains.
It is similar to the previous plan where the coverage was $5,000 at the event of death, and this is open to all members up to age 70, including those persons who were previously covered. And it is open for 4 months. You have 4 months to enroll on the plan. So the maximum age is age 70, and I need to stipulate that because we do have some older members on the plan, but this is actually for age 70 is a very good age that ICBL has given, because usually with normal insurance companies, the maximum age of entry is age 60 in some cases and 64.
And interested individuals can enroll online. BARP's President Marilyn Rice Bowen is encouraging members to make a will.
When we think of the life benefit, we think of the life benefit as a product that gives the members peace of mind, not only them, but their families as well. And we are in the process of encouraging our members to complete the estate planning. So once they rejoin the life benefit, this is a plan that they could include in their estate planning. And as I said before, and I can't emphasize it enough, this plan, this life benefit, offers to members peace of mind.
Barbados is seen as an excellent hub to serve as a platform for investments in the region's energy sector. Regional Director for the Americas for Global Event Partners, Alex Mould, says his company has been helping governments and the private sector come together to drive the investment and develop energy markets. Mr. Moles, who is in Barbados for an energy conference, says the world's need for energy is growing and one should not expect oil and gas to disappear immediately. Regarding solar, he has praised Barbados for its advances and believes it's well positioned to attract the investments needed.
Barbados has shown clear leadership in developing and accelerating renewables. And, our job, as I said, it's a joint venture partnership. Our job as the international sales and marketing partner is to amplify that message and to bring more investors, more technology providers, and to bring the sort of discussions to an event like the Caribbean Energies and Investments Summit, where, challenges can be discussed and overcome, and sustainable energy paths can be established. I mean, there's a real opportunity at the moment in the Caribbean. It's from our perspective, it's at a pivot point, and there is an opportunity where nations are seeking to update and replace legacy infrastructure.
Anne-Marie is back. Anne-Marie.
More cricket news. The West Indies Academy and Windward Island Volcanoes match in the CG United Super 50 Cup was abandoned early today in Trinidad without a ball being bowled, as outfield at the Frank Worrell Memorial Ground was waterlogged after being impounded by torrential rain over the last day. It was the final match in the preliminary phase of the tournament for both teams, with the Academy therefore ending on 33 and the Volcanoes finishing on 19. While the Volcanoes have now been formally eliminated from the tournament, the Academy could still reach the semi-finals. Meanwhile, Barbados Pride lost last night's match to the Leeward Island Hurricanes. As we reported last evening, the match was played at the Brian Lara Cricket Academy in Trinidad, and the Pride were bowled out for 196 in 41.2 overs, in a game reduced to 42 overs aside due to rain. In their reply, chasing revised 192, Hurricanes made 192 for 6 in 40.1 overs to win by 4 wickets under the Duckworth-Lewis-Stern method. The result puts the Hurricanes at the top of the standings with 42 points, with Trinidad Red Force second on 40 and the Pride is third on 37. Well, Innis House defended their title when the Christchurch Foundation School held its annual inter-house swim sports at the Aquatic Centre. Spearheaded by senior victory Sudan Ryland Marville, Innis scored 409 points for the victory. CBC's Anwar Garish Boyce reports on the breaststroke and freestyle events.
We start with the 25 meters breaststroke event. This is the boys 12 and under, and you can turn your attention to the middle lanes, 5 and 6, where there's a keen battle between Daniel Morris in 6 and Aidan Salmon, both of Lynch House, and in the end Morris prevails in 19.65 seconds, ahead of Salmon in 19.68 seconds, and Shea Chase of Skeet House 22.31 seconds. The girls' equivalent was a much different story. In the initial stages, Samaya Johnson of Innis House seemed to be in charge in lane 4, but further ahead in lane 6, her housemate, Kamisha Johnson, was in a commanding position. She's way ahead of the other competitors, touching the wall in 20.81 seconds. Johnson was second in 21.90 seconds, and Jaquela Crickendale of Skeet third in 24.72 seconds. The girls' 13 to 14 contest only featured 3 swimmers, and we pick it up at the midway stage. Anyone's race at this moment, but here comes Akaya Martin of Wellington House, powering her way in lane number 4 to beat the Innis House pair of Shaquila Barker, 21.05 seconds, and Alyssa John, 21.90 seconds. The boys were up next, and this one perhaps was over before it started. Look at lane number 4. That's Barbadian Carifta gold medalist Tariq Greenwich. He's definitely showing his worth, and he totally outclassed the field to win for Lynch House in 16.32 seconds. Raheem Denner of Wellington was second in 19.40 seconds, while Innis's Xavier Romero finished third in 19.44 seconds. Girls 15 and over now, and Lynch continue their dominance. This was a much slower race at the start, but Kristen Gamble powered ahead, legs kicking and arms gliding as she holds on for victory. She wins in 24.37 seconds, despite a challenge from Zeta Doyle of Skeet and Shantae Sargent of Wellington. The 25-meter breast ended in a fast note. 15 and over boys time to shine, and all the action to the right of your screen. It's a ding-dong battle, but Rajani St. Hill of Lynch pulled away from his opponents, to win in lane number 5 in 15.31 seconds. Now to heat 1 of the girls 12 and under 25-meter freestyle, and Kamisha Johnson of Innis returned to do more damage. She makes light work of her competitors, cutting through the water smoothly to win in 14.87 seconds. In Heat 2, there were only 3 competitors, and Samaya Johnson was all alone, racing to the wall in 15.63 seconds to be second overall. Wellington House picked up some valuable points thanks to Akaya Martin. She stamped her authority in the girls 13 to 14 in 12.88 seconds. Tariq Greenwich also returned to the winner's circle in the 13 and 14 boys. Here he is in the center of the pool. This is the freestyle at its best, folks. Greenwich stops the clock in 13.50 seconds to give Lynch House more valuable points. Anmar Goodrich Boys, CBC Sports.
Well, that's our time tonight. Thank you for spending it with us. I'm Pearson Bowen. For the crew, to all of you, good night. By God's will, we'll see you soon. Good night.